So, Michael, it's a pleasure to present you with this year's award for the Finance, Accounting and Control category with the case Ferrari, the 2015 initial public offering that you wrote with Jenny Craddock. And I wanted to kick off by asking you if you could explain a little bit about what is the case about.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me talk about the case. This case is an IPO case. One of the important pieces of curriculum or tools for students in finance is the valuation of a firm. And so this case features an engaging opportunity to do that as students wrestle with the opportunity to put a value on a very well-known world brand and interesting player in the auto industry. And so as the the context of the case is Fiat Chrysler is at a point in 2015 where their new CEO Sergio Marchionne um, is splitting up the company. So this brand, this Ferrari company, is embedded within the organization, the Fiat Chrysler. Many say it's undervalued within the big conglomerate, and so his decision is to spin the company off or carve out the equity of the company. And so essentially, there's going to be an IPO of 10% of the shares, and then eventually the remaining uh, 80% of the company will be spun off to existing Fiat Chrysler shareholders. And so the question is, what price should Fiat or should Ferrari trade at as it's listed on the New York Stock Exchange? And there's an initial suggestion of about $50 a share, and students are tasked with that interesting task of saying, is that the good price? There's tremendous demand from investors for it, or should they price it a little higher and get a little more money for it? But they don't want to price it too high. So that's the context for this case.
So it's sort of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You want something that's not too low, nothing that's too high, but something that's just right. Um, Seems seemingly simple from the outside, but with a great deal of complexity and I guess uh, management of risk and feelings of risk and being exposed. Um, is that something that MBA students come to terms with quite easily, or does it play better with the more experienced participants in, say, an executive education class?
Yeah, I mean, it can go either way. There's uncertainty in the case, risk about different things. For example, the the Chinese market and its growing influence in luxury auto industry uh, plays a key role. There's a issue about will the public company be more profit oriented and potentially squander the brand by selling too many cars. Ferrari's brand is really bit on this very difficult challenge of getting a Ferrari. And so as production is ramped up, potentially, you can reduce the value. So MBA students certainly are equipped to wrestle with those issues. And the case is designed to provide, there's a pro forma forecast. And the question is, how much do you want to tweak that forecast? And so the discussion is all around, do we believe these numbers? And is Ferrari an auto company? And so you price it like an auto company, or is it a luxury brand? And so we're looking at luxury companies to evaluate how to price that. The case is designed to do DCF valuation or to introduce multiples-based valuation. So it's easy to do that in this context. So do we value it with a Prada type EBITDA multiple, or do we do it like a Fiat Chrysler multiple? So that becomes the issues that students wrestle with.
Oh, wonderful. So what attracted you to the case in the first instance? Are you a real petrol head, or is there something, was it the finance obviously behind it is what it's most attractive to you, but what about this particular context?
Yeah, I mean, I, I think IPO events in themselves are very interesting um, for I'm interested in finance and how can students engage with a really interesting problem and in terms of evaluation context. And big deal IPOs like this Ferrari IPO are super interesting. Uh, One, because the product is interesting. I think for everybody to understand, how, how do you put a price on a Ferrari car is an interesting problem. And then how do you value an entire organization, operation, the strategy that goes into that? So, so I think that it's an interesting case simply because we all are intrigued by this company and its products, and so it's a perfect context for an IPO valuation case.
Um, Tell me about the practicalities then. You've got the idea, you're attracted to explore the situation in more detail, to write the case, but how do you actually go about writing it?
Um, so I think case writing is this delicate dance between enough information to make it a, a a problem with lots of real world ambiguity, and then not overwhelming a student with too much. And so we try to write that so there's enough background on the company historically, and the risks and certainty and the strategy and the actors in this case, uh, and not being too much. And hopefully we've struck a right balance in that regard.
We certainly have. It's amazingly popular, and it's very good to see a finance case that attracts such attention as well. It's a difficult area in which to write. Um, why do you think the case is so popular? Have you had much feedback from teachers who have adopted the case?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had a series of IPO cases. I think the IPO case context is one that both faculty and students engage well in. Um, I think that the case has international appeal. An Italian company with an Italian American owner and a listing in the US engages with students across the world. And then I think the brand itself is one that students engage with, and so faculty find it very interesting. Um, and so yes, I've gotten lots of feedback from 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 faculty members who have interesting questions about the case, and that's helped me continue to polish the case over the last couple of years.
Well, it's been fascinating talking to you, Michael. Thank you very much for sharing your insights into the background of the case and opening it up to others who I hope that they get inspiration from it to write their own cases and also to teach using your case. Congratulations again and thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. It's a real honor to be able to be recognized and have this case featured. So I really appreciate your attention.